Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today we're going to be doing another recent reads. So yeah, there's just some books I've read recently and I'm sure you've seen quite a few of these recently because I've been filming loads, but I hope you enjoy. So the first book I'm going to talk about is So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens, and I love this one. So how much? I gave it 4.5 stars, rounded up to 5. And it's just the perfect like little cozy fantasy YA like romance but with like fantasy setting. I don't know, it was just so much fun. So following this character called Arik and his like group of friends, and basically the book starts with them like defeating the bad guy and then the rest of the book is like the aftermath of they've won the kingdom, so now they like have to keep it, and Arik has like become the king, but he like the crown is like almost cursed, so basically he has to find like a mate is the wrong word, but like he has to find someone to marry and love within 3 months or he's gonna die. So he sets out on this mission to try and like woo one of his friends into marrying him, but he has actually been in love with his best friend called Matt like most of his life. So yeah, so he sets out trying to woo all these other like friends he has, but then it keeps ending up with him and like Matt in these scenarios that he's trying to whiz up for himself, and it's just so fun and so cute and so wholesome. It's not particularly high stakes, I wouldn't say, although it is, because like he'll die if he doesn't find his love, but you know what I mean, like it's not action packed, it's just a lot of like friends and like relationship type drama, and it will just put a smile on your face and it just feels so like good, and oh, I don't know, I just love it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then we also have the whole series of the first book is Witchmark by C.L. Polk, the second book is Storm Song, and the third book is Soul Star. I feel like I have slightly mixed feelings on this series, so I feel like I gave them all about 3 stars. And I don't know, because I feel like it was a series that I sort of enjoyed while I was reading, but I just completely forgot about afterwards. It's quite interesting setting, especially it's like almost like an alternative Victorian England with like magic. There's these like angel type creatures. The first book is like a male-male relationship, the second book is a female-female relationship, and the last book is like a female non-binary. So that's interesting. I liked all the queer stuff, but I just feel like I wasn't particularly invested in any of the relationships, and like this plot was just like, it was there. I don't know, I feel like maybe it's because I didn't care about any of the characters like enough. I think the second book was probably my favourite, definitely my favourite relationship. I think in sapphic relationships I have a weakness where one of the characters is like a sort of rakish, like glamorous, I don't know. Looking back on the series, I'm definitely glad I read it. I just don't feel like I had any like deep and meaningful takeaways from it. Not that I always have that, but I feel like I just wasn't like, didn't love my time reading. Like I had to push myself to like read the audiobook and stuff. I would say if you like sort of historical magic type books, you might like it. It's not super heavy on the magic, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about that series. I'm trying not to spend ages on books because otherwise this wrap up or recent reads will be so long. I already have to split it into multiple videos. So yeah, so then after that we have The Path of Thorns, which I gave 4.25 stars. And I really enjoyed this one. I'd never read anything by the author before. I think they have another book called All the Murmuring Bones, which I would probably read, although I feel like this one maybe was more sort of up my alley. And this one from the main character, whose name I've forgotten, but basically she gets a job as like a governess to these children at this like manor house, but she has a history with the family that you sort of discover as you read the book, and she is basically there for revenge. But as she like grows closer to the children, she starts like question like her revenge journey, and the book is so like atmospheric. It's very like witchy and like gothic-y, and it's really good. And there's like I loved exploring all the different relationships in the book that she has with like the characters in the house and the children, and her mother character, who is dead but not gone. and also this other character, I think he was called Eli, and he's like this the like love interest, although the romance is not a big part of the story, but I was like surprisingly invested in this little bit of the romance, just like the legacy of the family and stuff, and it's just so interesting, and it was just a really, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. If you like the sort of atmospheric, like witchy, foresty, I swear there's werewolves in this book, but I can't remember properly. But I was writing my NetGalley review and I was like, will I look like an idiot if I say I like the werewolves in the book and there wasn't any? But yeah, I would highly recommend if you like the kind of atmospheric, like type, like Caramel Targrave type vibes, For the Wolf, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, then we have Heatwave by TJ Klune, which I gave 4.5 stars. I can't remember any of these ratings. I really love this series. It's very like cheesy, fun, over the top superhero type story. I feel like it's very appropriate to be talking about now because we are in the middle of a heatwave in England. And yeah, so we're following Nick and Seth, Nick is like this hyperactive teenager who really likes superheroes, and they're in the city. There's in the first book I think there's these two superheroes that like go up against each other all the time, and Nick like writes fan fiction about them, but then also it's just Nick and his like friendship group as well, and his best friend Seth, who maybe has secrets. And yeah, it's just so good. I love Nick and Seth, they're so cute, and just the whole series is just, it's really fun. It's like watching like a superhero TV show film, and in the final book it's like slightly like almost an alternative reality type thing. Well, not really, like one of the sort of villain characters has like manipulated everyone's minds, which is really interesting to like explore. I don't know. And one thing I really love about this series as well is how like sex positive it is, which I like always, especially in queer teen books, because I feel like it's not talked about enough. And yeah, so that's good as well. Then I read A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, which I gave 4 stars, and this is a historical romance, and this is really fun. I love Alexis Hall's books, although I feel like this one was a lot more like serious. It wasn't that serious, but like compared to some of her other books, which are like really, or his other books even, which are like really cheesy and over the top, this book was like surprisingly subtle. So we're following this character called Viola, I think Viola, who is a trans woman, and she basically like her old self is thought to be dead, and she's kind of reinvented herself, and her childhood friend, the Duke of Gracewood, is like troubled. So Viola and her like sister-in-law and her I don't know how is it? There's this character called Mira, and I can't remember how she's related to, oh no, Mira is the Duke of Gracewood's sister, that's it. So Mira is like really worried about her brother, so those three travel to this like the Duke's castle. And there they try and help Gracewood, and Viola and Gracewood have this like connection, and they were like childhood friends, but Gracewood doesn't know who Viola is anymore, and it's just so good. And like, as in not like in a transphobic way, but he literally doesn't recognize her type thing. And yeah, it's so good. I love historical romance. It was a great historical romance. There were so many like heartfelt moments, and I love Grace. I love the like kind of the hurt comfort type trope going on, like, but actually both of them have a lot of like healing to do, and I just love that. And Mira was a great character, and her like being obsessed with this like MILF. I love it. I really want Mira to get her own spin-off. And actually the second book, well, apparently according to the author, the next book in this like series is gonna follow the character who is basically the villain in the first book, which I think is really interesting, and I'm kind of looking forward to that, because I do love like a good like, what is it, reformation? No, redemption arc. So yeah, we'll see. That could be fun. But I would highly recommend the series if you like historical romance. So yeah. Oh, it's not even a series, this book. Okay, and then I read The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy, which I gave 4/4.5 stars. Haven't quite decided. And this is another really fun like fantasy romance. I feel like if you like the Paladin's Grace series by T. Kingfisher, you will love this one. So it's kind of like a hate to love type vibes. There's these two characters, Mercy, who like works for her family's like undertaking business. And she is like running the business and is kind of in charge of it, but women aren't like meant to like inherit the business essentially, and like her brother really doesn't want the like undertaking business, so Mercy is taking on the role, but like Mercy is not allowed to go to like undertaking school or whatever. It's a bit complicated, but anyway, so and then there's this other character called Hart, who is like, I think he's a demigod, and they like in the like city there's this like island in the middle, which is like where like possessed corpses essentially like run feral, and they have to go and like kill the possessed corpses and take them back to the Undertaker. So Hart is one of these like delivery people, and yeah, Hart and Mercy have this very like antagonistic relationship based on a very petty misunderstanding, I have to say. But then they basically strike up a pen pal relationship like without knowing who the other is, and I have a sucker for that, like that kind of thing. I feel like it does it in Love on the Brain by Ellie Hazelwood, where these two characters who like seemingly hate each other in real life have like a pen pal relationship where they don't know who the other is, but they're like best friends through that. I don't know, I love that. So yeah, and then it's kind of a romance, but I also really liked all the other like side characters and like the plot and things. Well, the plot, but like, you know, what was happening in the world. I thought it was a really interesting world with like these whole like corpses that would get possessed and reanimated. I thought it was so cool. Mercy's brother, Zeddy, I think he's called, I loved as a character. I really hope he gets his own book. And Hart takes on like an apprentice called, I think it was called Pen, but they also call him Duck. I think that was a nickname. I love him as well so much. And like Mercy's father as well, I really liked as a character, and just there's so many good characters, and I just had a great time reading, so would definitely recommend if you like that kind of thing. Then I read Zachary Young and the Dragon Emperor, which is a middle grade, and I really enjoyed this one. It's very like mythology, like Percy Jackson vibes, but with like Chinese mythology and like Chinese historical figures. And for this character called Zachary, who like, so they have these like VR like headsets, and the VR headset basically gets like taken over by this like ancient Chinese emperor, and like says to Zachary like, you have to like bond me and come on this mission, and he travels with like these two other like young children, like 10 or 11 or 12 or however old they are, and they're all also bonded to these like powerful ancient historical figures, and they have to I can't remember exactly what's happened, but they're like defeating this other ancient figure and trying to save Zachary's mum, who has been like kidnapped. And yeah, so it's just a fun like adventure basically, and I like the whole theme of like Zachary, who is living in America, but he's like originally from, or his family is from China, and not feeling like he really fits in like either of those two cultures. And I thought that was interesting. I think like lots of young children who are that like from that background will appreciate that and like seeing themselves in that, so that's good. And yeah, I feel like the writing is fairly like basic, but it was a fun adventure. So like if you like middle grade, I think you would enjoy it. It wasn't my favourite middle grade ever, but like there wasn't anything like glaringly wrong with it. I feel like middle grade I'm very like not that harsh on, but because it's always just a fun time, you know. And then I read Valdezia. I can't remember if I've already wrapped this up or not, but this is the final book in the Medoran Chronicles by Lynette Noni, and I love this series so much. It's probably one of my favourite like newer YA fantasy books, although I'm not sure how new it is actually. I'm talking really fast, I need to slow down. And I just love the whole conclusion to this series. I love Alex so much, the main character. She's like grown so much throughout the series, and she's so strong. Like she's just a really great like YA classic protagonist, but she doesn't feel like you know, like just a copy and paste of every other book. Like she feels like her own character, but I just love her so much, and like the focus on friendships and things. I love all the friendships in the book just so much, and I feel like I've just said the same thing for every one of this series I've wrapped up, but I really like the conclusion. I was like very emotionally invested. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting ending as well, with how the like villain character was dealt with, because I also read these like two, so they're like a little novella called A Very Medoran Caldoras, which is basically Caldoras is like their Christmas in this like fantasy world, and there's just two little novellas like taking place at the Christmas time, one of which is basically Alex and her like boyfriend Caden, who I really like the relationship. It's very like classic YA, but also it's very like sweet and supportive, and I don't know, I just love it. It was a really cute novella. And then the second novella where she like there's a bit of a mystery, and I feel like it sets up a spin-off series really well, so I really hope there is a spin-off series, because one of the characters, Nikes, who is like this, I don't know, sarcastic and like charming, you know, that kind of character, who I really like. I feel like there's a lot of his story still to be told, so hopefully we get like a spin-off. But yeah, I really enjoyed Valdezia and also the little novellas. So yeah. Then we have The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and this is like a retelling of, I don't know what the original book's called, something about Dr. Moreau. And I think it's like a classic novel. I'm not entirely sure what the original one is even based on. I think like an island where they experiment on animals. But anyway, this book is mainly, the focus is on his daughter. I can't remember what her name was in the book, but basically she's grown up on this like island, and she has like been raised with some other characters who are like half animal, half human type thing, and her father does all these experiments on these like animal human hybrids, and there is also this character called Montgomery who comes to their like villa where they all live to be like their protector, bodyguard essentially, and Montgomery has quite a troubled past, so the story is kind of about him like fitting in with the villa, and also the daughter and her discovering her own sort of agency kind of. And then this other character, like the son of the man who like funds Dr. Moreau, comes along and is very like charming and like suave and stuff, and sort of captures the eye of the daughter. But there's like also drama there. I feel like it's very like classic Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Loads of like love interests and complicated family drama and things. But yeah, so it was interesting. I feel like I wasn't that invested in like any of the characters enough to really like love it. But I feel like I think it's a retelling, and like the retelling aspects, I felt like, even though I hadn't read the original, felt really like cool and interesting, and like the whole like animal human like hybrid thing, the like mad scientist vibes, was really interesting. I love the setting, and sort of almost like it's set in a jungle. Was really interesting, and like the way it tied in with the like greater sort of political atmosphere at the time was very interesting. I think it's that like I don't know how to pronounce it, but like Yucatan, I will try and put it here, peninsula, and so that was very interesting as well. But I don't think it wasn't my favourite Sylvia Moreno Garcia book, but I enjoyed it a lot, so yeah, that's that one. And then I read The Abyss Surrounds Us, which I gave 3 stars, and I feel like I was really looking forward to this one because like sapphic, pirates, but I don't know, I just wasn't that invested in the characters or the relationship. Maybe it was like too toxic, and then it pissed me off at the end as well, because so there's the main character, like she works for this like, it's like kind of a post-apocalyptic America, I would say, and there's these like creatures in the ocean that are like these massive, well, I can't remember what they call them, but like leviathans, I think, who like prey on, like protect the people from like pirates and stuff. And the main character, she is Cass, I think she's called, is a trainer for these things. But the training secret's like very highly prized. So in her like inaugural mission with her like a leviathan, she gets captured by pirates, and then she ends up on this pirate ship, and the pirates, turns out they have like a baby leviathan, and they want Cass to train this leviathan. So that's kind of the story, and I really like the sort of training aspects. And Cass's bond with the leviathan, called Bow, was really cute. But like the pirate ship, I don't know, I felt like she ended up on the side of the pirates like way too easily and like quickly, and she sort of almost like all her, I don't know, it was just a really strange like switch of allegiance. Like I understand the like when you like, and I know a lot of books do it where like they're captured by like the bad guys, but the bad guys actually end up being the good guys type thing, and I understand that. But in this book, like they treated her really badly, and yet she's still like, maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe I need to read book 2 and she'll realise that she was Stockholm Syndrome all along, I don't know. But it was just a bit strange. So yeah, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that one. Yeah, and then I read Gallant by V. Schwab, which is another book I sort of had mixed feelings on, so I gave this one 3 stars as well. I really like V. Schwab's writing. Like the writing in this book was so good, and it created such a good atmosphere. But I feel like I just did not care about the plot or the characters. And to be honest, it's only been like a month and a half or 2 months since I read it. This is how late my wrap up is. But I can't remember a single thing about it. I feel like the main character is called Olivia Pryor. And she goes to, maybe she gets like an inheritance and she goes to this house that she has inherited type thing. And that is all I can remember. There's a like a dark bad guy type character who is like a, you know, like a demon type, like not actually there. I just can't remember because that is how little I cared basically. But like I feel like if you're a huge fan of V. Schwab, you will like it because it's very much her sort of style of character. But I feel like I've gone off that a bit. Like I like her writing, but just I feel like her characters never really feel like characters. They just feel like a vessel for her cool dialogue. I felt like that really in Addie LaRue. But in this book, I just feel like they weren't fully, like, just didn't care about them enough to, like, warrant a high rating or more of my emotional attachment. I don't know. But maybe this book would have been better if it had been a bit longer and you had a bit more time with the characters, because it was pretty short. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that one. Okay, and then we have the Book of Gothel, which I gave 4.5 stars, and I really enjoyed this one. So this is sort of like a Mother Gothel origin story type thing with Rapunzel, and it was so good. I would say it's not, I'm not that familiar with the like Rapunzel original source, or my main knowledge of Rapunzel is from Tangled. But I mean I know in the real one, like the like prince character who comes to rescue her gets his eyes gouged out and is blind and stuff. But this book I wouldn't say is very, like, if you love like Rapunzel and stuff, this book is not that. Like it's more just like a witchy like a witchy story. Like it's so atmospheric and like that sort of thorny, like similar to Path of Thorns, like gothic-y character. The main character, Hellywise, is a midwife or apprentice midwife, and I loved that so much. And her like sort of journey, and she is very like ostracized for some reason, and I can't remember why. Maybe because she has magic, or like she's seen as like a witch. And she basically ends up going to this like tower where the character who is the owner of the tower is known as like Mother Gothel, and they help like women in need, like whether it's like need help with like escaping an abusive family or like with abortion or that kind of thing, and the person in charge of the tower is known as like Mother Gothel, which I thought was really interesting. And then it actually, having said that, when I said it didn't really correspond to the Rapunzel story, she does at one point end up like taking a princess or like the child of another princess to like look after and raise in this tower, but like not for the reasons that it was thought. So actually no, it is a Rapunzel. I just remembered, but that's more of the second half of the book, I feel like. So yeah, it's really interesting. Heloise is an amazing character, and like the atmosphere and everything is so good. I love the like discussion and themes, and that like persecution of women as witches, and the like the community of women, especially in like historical times where they didn't have so much power and they had to rely on like each other to help out with things like that. Heloise also has this like romance type thing, which I liked, but I mean it wasn't my favourite part of the book. But yeah, it was just really good. Like it's just a very sort of good standalone like atmospheric fantasy. That's all I can say about it really. So yeah, that's that one. And I think that's all the books I'm going to talk about in this video. So I hope you all enjoyed, and definitely let me know in the comments a book you've read recently and enjoyed. I'd really love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope everyone is having a really great day, and I'll see you next time.